So here's an interesting thought. Bravely Default, a game once pitched as the spiritual successor to classic Final Fantasy, is now old enough to get nostalgic remasters, and yet here we are in 2025, booting it up on the Nintendo Switch 2, and honestly, it looks as good as ever. Today, I'm answering the big question. Should you play Bravely Default in 2025, specifically the Flying Fairy HD Remaster on the Nintendo Switch 2? I'll be going over what's been updated, why it still hits after all these years, and whether this is finally the definitive way to play one of the best JRPGs ever made, at least in my opinion. Before we get started, I want to give a huge shout out to Square Enix for providing a review code for this game so that I can give you all my thoughts and impressions and how I feel about Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD. Let's rewind a bit. When Bravely Default launched on the Nintendo 3DS back in 2014, it was basically Square Enix whispering sweet nothings into the ear of many classic JRPG fans like, hey, remember when we had job systems and turn based combat? Well, if you enjoyed that, we've got something for you. And that something was Bravely Default. Coming off the heels of an era where Square Enix was more interested in, bigger budget, lightning fast spectacle, triple A titles, Bravely Default felt like someone reached into my mind specifically and pulled out exactly what I want out of a JRPG. It wore its influences like a badge of honor. Crystal driven plot, check. A rotating cast of quirky villains, check. A job system that's one of the best of all time, also check. But what made it feel fresh, and this is so key, wasn't just nostalgia. It was the confidence in that nostalgia. The Brave and Default system didn't just revive turn based combat, it evolved it. You could play recklessly, blowing all your turns at once to drop a meteor barrage before the enemy even blinked, or play cautiously, banking turns defensively to wait for just the right moment, just to strictly learn the enemy's moves to better plan for the right approach. It made every battle feel like a puzzle. Not how do I beat this enemy, but how much risk am I willing to take to finish this battle in the most efficient way possible. And this system, it's not just a gimmick. It redefined modern turn based design. You can draw a straight line from Bravely Default to games like Octopath Traveler and Sea of Stars, both of which, in different ways, refine or riff on this idea of tempo control and turn manipulation. But all of that groundwork was laid here. This wasn't just a good JRPG, it was a blueprint. Okay, so with all that said, let's talk about the remaster on the Nintendo Switch 2. Because this isn't just a basic upscale. This is one of those remasters that was done with real care. No, it's not a remake, but that's okay because at $40, it costs the same amount as the original 3DS game did when it came out and comes with a bunch of quality of life features on top of that. First of all, the game looks gorgeous. The original already had that iconic storybook style, but on the 3DS, a lot of that beauty was kind of crushed down into a more low resolution experience. On the Switch 2, those towns and fields have been rebuilt in full HD with dynamic lighting, better texture fidelity, and way, way more detail. It's like you've been playing the game with sand in your eyes until now. Character models have been reworked with better proportions, cleaner outlines, and smoother animations, particularly during combat. And speaking of combat, it now runs at a locked 60 frames per second, which makes even the smallest battles feel buttery smooth. Menus are snappier, load times are nearly non existent. It feels modern now, no more sitting there while the job wheel takes forever to spin around on the 3DS. On top of that, we've got some really cool mini games that are exclusive to the Nintendo Switch 2 version. You've got one that has you trying to control a ship with the mouse controls, and it is so difficult. It's like one of those games that tries to pull from rubbing your stomach and patting on your head at the same time. You're trying to pull levers and steer a wheel in different directions to go through different areas and fly the ship efficiently. It's a ton of fun, and there are a ton of hilarious moments that can come out of this. The other one is more of a dancing mini game, also very much fun. These are great ways to use the mouse controls, and as I'm learning to use them on the Switch 2, I think Bravely Default is such a great example and like almost a perfect way to train yourself how to use them. So definitely check those out. I had a ton of fun with them, and they're actually very addictive. Now I want to spend a brief moment talking about handheld mode. When comparing the Switch 2 to the 3DS, it's very blatantly clear that the Switch 2 version looks significantly better, bigger, brighter screen, much higher resolution, smoother frame rate. But the 3DS version still holds up quite well. Having them side by side, it is a significant upgrade. It is so good to have this on the Switch 2. I've always thought that Bravely Default was one of the most perfect handheld experiences out there. So having this on the Switch 2 at launch is just the perfect game to have on the go. When I'm trying to choose a game specifically for handheld mode, I almost always pick up Bravely Default to just go through, do some extra grinding, prepare for a boss battle that I was putting off for a long time. This is perfect for that. So, no complaints there. Runs perfectly dock and handheld. So, with all that said, you might be wondering, with so many JRPGs out there today, especially on the Switch 2, why this one? What makes Bravely Default still worth playing now? Simple. The job system still slaps. It's ridiculously deep and not in a look how many jobs we can cram in kind of way. It's about synergy. Every ability you unlock has the potential to interact with others in wild and sometimes completely broken ways. Want a monk that's also a spell fencer with passives from time mage and survivability of a knight? Go nuts. Want to create an unstoppable vampire that can mimic boss skills? You're encouraged to do that. Half the enjoyment of this game is becoming a little mad scientist of sorts, experimenting, breaking the combat in the best way possible. But what's really cool is how Bravely Default gives you the tools to make grinding or experimenting feel really good. You can control encounter rates, speed up battles, automate actions. It respects your time without completely gutting the challenge of the game. The story, okay, yes, it's got the classic crystal fueled chosen one setup, but it's way more than it first lets on. There's a moment, and you'll know when this happens, where the game fully leans into its story beats. It's weird, it's ambitious, and it really works. And the soundtrack, dear God, the soundtrack. This is one of the best soundtracks in all of JRPGs. You've got pulse pounding boss themes, you've got chill, more relaxed vibes, and town themes. Every track is layered, textured, and unique. And now it's all remastered with higher fidelity and cleaner instrument balance. It's better in every conceivable way. Now, let's be real. Bravely Default is not for everyone. It's long, it leans hard into repetition in the back half, and while the remaster fixes a lot of that, some of that old school pacing remains. If you're someone who craves nonstop cinematic storytelling or hates grinding in any way, this might not be the game for you. Some of the humor is very obscure. You'll either be charmed or deeply confused by Ring a Bell's pickup lines, and that's just part of the experience. But for players who love tinkering with mechanics, who enjoy building busted party setups and watching systems explode in real time, this is your kind of game. It rewards planning, it encourages experimentation, it respects your intelligence. And if you've never played it before, this remaster is 100% the version to start with. It's not just a facelift, this is a full body rejuvenation, in my opinion. Look, I know. Bravely Default was always a little weird gem on the 3DS, a throwback that somehow pushed things forward, and in 2025, finally feels like it's gotten the stage it's always deserved. It's a love letter to classic JRPGs, but it's also a sharp, modern game that still feels more forward thinking than half the stuff releasing today. It's mechanically rich, narratively surprising, and just weird enough to be super memorable. So, should you play Bravely Default in 2025? If you're a fan of clever combat, satisfying progression, and JRPGs that aren't afraid to get a little weird sometimes, yes, absolutely. This is the best this game has ever looked, sounded, or played. And for those of us who have been on the journey since 2014, it's the rare remaster that feels like coming home and finding everything just a little bit better than you remember. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's it for me in this one. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Definitely subscribe for more JRPG content. But more importantly, let me know in the comments below. Did you pick up a Switch 2? And if so, are you playing Bravely Default HD Remaster? I would love to hear your thoughts on the game. I look forward to reading all your comments. And until next time, I'm out.